Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Long, Erica just told me that Judge Long will be along, but in a little while. He said that to go ahead and start the meeting without him. Okay. It is March the 20th, 2015. It is now, I believe it's, we apologize for not starting it at 9, but it's 9:12. We're going to begin the meeting at 9:12. Pete, can you say the opening prayer, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for all our blessings. Thank you for the recent rains and the rains coming. We thank you for the opportunity we have to serve the county. We ask that you be with us today as we consider the needs of our county and help us to make proper decisions. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pete. Agenda item number 5, discuss office space need for existing county employees, new county employees, and different entities that provide services for Karnes County.
All right, we are always growing and need spaces. Let's start off with what we have now. We have in the permits building, we now have 911 addressing. We have permits for septic. First one is basically Twyla, second one is Helen, and permits for oil and services and road, and that's David, and they both of these people there at Twyla and Helen help him with this stuff. They take care of it when you're not there. Is that correct, David?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so for them to stay there where they are in that same building is probably proper. We also have Zane's office in that building, and replace him. We'll have to have space for him, and that possibly could be put in the other building when we do a maintenance shop there, and he could have space. In fact, he would not, probably wouldn't need an office space in the front, but could probably go in the back. All right, so we have emergency management also in the permits building, which is Suzanne. And she could take Zane's space in there, or she might possibly get office space in the other building. She needs some storage space for equipment. She has it sitting there in the front, which we don't need to sitting in the front of the building like that. So we have to consider what she needs. All right. I've been in on some of the meetings. It's probably been determined that the treasurer and the auditor need to stay in the same building, and with some modifications needed for the treasurer's staff. That'd be in the tax building. Would that sound proper? Y'all probably need to stay in the same building.
Yes,
all right.
we did.
And they had some plans for modifications. That right, Ryan?
Yes. If you're going to make the temporary position that I have now a full-time position, I will need another office space for her.
Okay.
Something also that needs to be considered in that building, we have the upstairs that is currently not necessarily utilized. If that building's not going to be made ADA compliant with a either larger staircase or an elevator or something, is to repair that dumbwaiter so we could at least use it to get boxes up there and use that area for storage instead of just wasting the space.
I was wondering what we were going to do with that upstairs too.
Well, we've considered that in the last 2 years, and if we make it for office space upstairs, we have to put another stairs, an outside stairs, and an elevator. And the walkway would have to be above the lobby to get to the outside wall on the west side, or the stairs on the front street. We're not gonna put it on Front Street for sure. So, to put it anyplace else, we'd have to move a whole lot of electrical, a whole lot of air conditioning. And it has to be a certain distance from the elevator. You can't put it right in the back. And we'd have to remodel restrooms upstairs. And we had just a general estimate of maybe $250,000 to make it ADA acceptable for upstairs. So we just kind of backed off.
That sounds like Luana's suggestion of some sort of storage facility would make sense.
And we use that for like training or open enrollment with insurance and things like that. We use it also for county, just for county employees.
Okay, so can you use it for training if we don't make it handicap accessible?
I don't think you can.
Well,
Not
we've been
supposed
doing
to.
it because that's what, we haven't changed it. And that's like, from what I understand with the Ag Extension Office, as long as they stayed there and they had a plan of action to accommodate anyone with disabilities, they would meet them downstairs. So, but once you moved them out of that building, then they could no longer go back in there because it wasn't ADA compliant. We've been doing it since I've been in there, so
So since you've been doing training, you think you continue?
probably so. I think we can accommodate for anyone who can't go up there, we can accommodate.
I don't think you can. I mean, you can, but I don't think legally you can, because draw the line between somebody being upstairs and having to evacuate in case something happens to that building when they're up there. It's the same thing as you use it for office. You can't. There's no other. You identify the exits you have to have. I could be wrong, but I really don't think that you're allowed to use it for anything other than maybe storage.
But Brenda has something.
Could you put one of those stair lift things in there? Would that help with something like that?
I thought about that too a long time ago, but I was told we couldn't do it. Something about little chair thing.
Who would be able to definitively tell us
And go up, where do those
what
end
could
up
and
going
could
to
not be
the
used?
top?
Yes, but you go through the door, there's storage, and then there's like a entryway that can get you into that. There's another way to exit.
Right, that's what I'm
Like
saying. There is two ways to exit that, from the west side and from the east side. The west side's hard because you gotta go through all of the little things. There is two sets of steps.
Unless you talk to get TAP or somebody come out to give us an evaluation of that building upstairs.
Okay.
You know, honestly, there's that.
Well,
Somebody.
I think it's pretty much illegal to try to
I do too.
change it. Even if you widen that stairway and put a chair lift on the stairway, I don't think it'd be legal.
Well, the chair lifts, yeah, I mean, but the chair lifts flop up. I mean, you go to the each level and turn. They have backup power. Just a track. I've seen those in homes, and I know that the home is different than a regular building, but to me, it's.
Of course, that wouldn't suffice with the problem of evacuation in the case of emergency.
Well, if I can't use that for training, then I'm gonna have to have another space for Suzanne, she's kind of taking all of that stuff.
Yeah, and that's one thing that needs to be considered in space, is that we need a place for training. I agree with you, because I have that need as well.
Yeah,
We'll eventually get the break room back.
right, I
I
thought
was
so.
gonna say, that'll come back at some point.
Well, we'll also have the multi-purpose room once the courthouse is finished and court's held there.
All right. Moving on, we have both the new departments, financial officer and human services. So we give them offices. I think they will be in the Cornell building. That's my concept.
I don't remember who it was, but someone suggested that, and it probably was a financial officer since they would work so closely with the judge, that the fellow that's in there might find secondary office space, and the financial officer be put in that office right there.
I feel like it would be more effective to have the financial office and the HR here with the judge and you guys. I mean,
Well, one thing the court needs to take into consideration as far as money's concerned is don't be moving a bunch of offices now that aren't moving into a permanent space.
Yeah.
Because jerry-rigged a whole lot of things and spent a whole lot of money to do it. The county judge will be moving into the courthouse when it's finished. They told us the other night at the meeting we may be looking at the fall of 2017 for completion of that. So, you know, we're a year and a half away from that. This needs to be a proactive plan, not a today plan.
All right, we also had the possibility, local officers have told me that it's been talked about, of getting a driver's license renewal department here. In other words, a couple of days a week or something, sorry, but I've been told that I've talked to a lady on South New Braunfels. I forget her name, it's written in my book, but anyway, I haven't been able to talk to anybody with robots up there on my telephone, so I still haven't gotten in touch with them.
Now,
If I have to go up there, I will.
the legislature at one time had allowed where they wanted the counties to you could redo licenses yourself, and they would provide you the training as well as give you the equipment, I understand. And then you would have, you could renew the licenses here, like the tax office could do it, or something like that. If we move, and I was talking with Brenda about this, if we move Karen to the corner over there where DPS moves out, and I don't know if Karen could do the driver's license thing, but we might be able to use her just to do the renewals, not the initial, getting their first license, they have to go someplace else, but just to do the picture taking and whatever documentation they need to have, plus it would give her a chance to get people registered to vote by the way.
That's a good idea. So are you talking about like full-time driver's license for people to kind of get their, driver's license for the first time, or just
Driver's license renewal.
just renewal?
And like choose that 2-3 times a week. And you choose that Thursday or Monday when they're
Well, if Karen is there, if she can do it, she can do it 5 days a week.
Yeah, we'd have posted office hours.
I need to check and see, because I don't remember if when that was approved in the legislature, if it had to be an elected office or it could be an appointed office. Do you remember? Okay. So let me check on that for sure, because that'd be perfect. And
Yeah, Brenda and I have talked about that too.
But let me follow, because I thought about that. I can't remember what it said, but I can look it up.
But it'd be something that makes sense in that office because it's got easy access in and out for people to come in, because this building is not really a handicap
It is not.
friendly building, as you can tell right now. You gotta put the brakes on that wheelchair to slide down. But it would be to our advantage, I think. Plus we could just, like you've been wanting to do this driver's license thing, would be a way to do it.
And plus, we are able to issue election certificates, which are similar to driver's license as far as equipment goes and all of that kind of stuff for the renewals. We have the equipment right now to take the pictures, we've got the background, we've got all of that. And it's something we are able to do, but we have to put our equipment up all the time. And it would easily combine, and I would be perfectly happy for that to be part of, the function of the election office also, or a sub-function, however you want to say that. But I also wanted to say, TC, that I have talked to DPS a number of times since I've been here. I've gone as high up as I can, and I am being told there is, in the next 10 years, there's no way we're going to get an office. Now, I mean, obviously you guys would have more effect than I would, but I'm saying, now with this voter ID, we need our citizens to be able to get to their licenses, but I think they are looking at this as a fix, when they can at least get them renewed.
All right, well, I will give you the name that Sergeant Oscar Martinez gave me of the woman in San Antonio, and I'll give you the phone number and just see if you can get to talk to her, but I haven't been able to talk to her.
Okay.
See what you can find out.
Okay, because I've talked to someone in Austin. I talked to somebody that started in locally and kept going up to Austin.
Well, I was
I
told
may have
in
to
charge
talk
of each district, and that's who I get to talk, that's what I was told by
Okay.
Oscar Martinez.
Perfect, okay.
Well, if Karen is allowed to move over there, I would like to reclaim that space as a storage overflow for the county clerk's office.
Yeah, and there's another reason I want the DPS office also, besides the fact that I'm willing to take that on, but also for accessibility for our voters, because you know where we're at now. I get complaints all the time about accessibility.
I know, I was also told by the highway patrol here, they weren't sure they were getting out of that. It's up to their supervisors to tell them what they have to do. Okay.
Even though some of the local.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you, don't listen to the local office, because that's what they've been told. They have been told, but they're fighting it.
What was that, Pete? Can you repeat it?
That the DPS has been told by their sergeant they will relocate to the jail.
The troopers, as far as license and weight, no. But license and weight, as long as I can remember, when I've been with the county, they work out of their units.
Correct.
Okay, so we're not.
Plus, we have a
Right.
We have that
Right.
station
facility out there that could be their office.
Yeah, if they have either place, they got that building, then they can work at it.
But, I mean, regardless of what happens, I think y'all really should take into consideration to bring the deal, people back in here to renew driver's license at least twice a week, guys. I mean, that's just my opinion, but really, I think that really needs to happen. I mean, I think it's very important because a lot of people have to drive to Floresville
Yes.
or Beeville, and you know, I'm just saying. I mean, I always get asked, you know, are we ever going to bring a driver's license office back in here to get license renewed?
At least the
They made
renewals.
superstores for DLs
But I think we
trying to streamline it, but yet they create a burden on the rural community.
Well, I'd like to see a full-blown office here.
Oh, me too, but
According to what's being said, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
It
DPS
would help
believes,
if y'all brought them here like at least 2 days out of the week, Commissioner Reynolds. It really would. I mean, go out there and talk to the public.
For renewals.
They're really concerned.
they're ready to do the renewal whenever all that stuff goes through, but they will not commit to a full-blown, which is what I would like to have also, but what I've been told is the Floresville and the Beeville office are close enough, and they're a lot closer than other people have to go. So, you know,
it's just, they're so busy.
I know,
181.
But it's,
I understand,
But it's
trust
the
me.
elderly that have the problem.
Do what? I'm sorry.
It's the elderly that have the problem.
And those are mostly renewals. And so we would be able to serve them with that new legislation, so that's awesome.
You know, and then they'll probably tell you too, you can do it online, but not everybody has a computer or is online savvy.
Exactly.
All right, so, we'll continue to pursue the driver's license, and, if necessary, Commissioner Court needs to make a request, official request, for which is probably what we should do. But, I will continue to try to get in touch with the lady who I was told to contact. See if we can find out.
Pete,
All right.
let me take a step back just a second. In reference to what Luana said about not doing a patch, and I don't know where we could put Mr. Long, that's the problem or the circumstance. Well, perhaps he could occupy the space you want for the time being. But if Walter's office or the county judge's office is ultimately going to the courthouse, my thought would be the financial officer and the human resources person are going to deal closely with him. There's not room in the courthouse, but those two could go in here, and that would take care of that. They would be a lot closer, a lot more accessible than an L building as far as the access to the judge went. Now, in the short term, that makes a little bit of a problem with the judge. However, I'm thinking DPS is going to be moving out within the next 2 or 3 months, and we haven't hired these people yet. So maybe if the timelines come together, we could abscond with the space that Karen is giving up, at least for the short term, for the county judge's office, and put those 2 people here permanently, and then we don't do any more patch you're talking about. Just a thought.
Something that we need to consider for the future is moving our emergency operations center to the county. Right now, it's in a shared space in the municipal building in Kennedy. It's a very small space that it's in, and it would be, it's something that the county should look at to take that facility and move it so that it belongs to the county.
Have you determined how much space that would take
It would take about the space that's in this room,
for the what?
about the space that's in
Well,
this room.
that's one thing about the thing in Kennedy though, is that we've got the center in one thing, but if you had to bring a bunch of people in, and quite, you know, we had the courtroom back here to use, so we had all that, but we need to get that away from Kennedy and bring it back home. Either you could set the thing up in the, you could always have enough places for everybody to meet. I mean, if you had to bring a bunch of people in, that's not the issue.
And you know, when you're talking about space, you know, we're talking about the training facility and all those types of things. Those spaces can be utilized in that, in the scenario that we're talking about. You have to have people come in, they're there for long periods of time. You have the break room that will come up available and has the kitchenette. I mean, that is an appropriate space to be utilized for that. But then you have all of the equipment and things that go with it. You have the additional dispatch console, printers, GIS equipment, and so forth that has to be set up someplace. So, I mean, the actual space for the people could be utilized for space that we already have or that will come available that we'll use for training space. But the equipment space itself, I had originally said the size of this room, if you take the training portion out of it, then Carol had just said the office space that Karen now has would be suitable as well. That height size space.
Because then she has the other rooms in here if needed in the event of an emergency.
Well, and too, when the courtroom gets moved, that's gonna be a big meeting room. So that could be a training room, meeting room, whatever you want to do, because that's going to be opening a lot of space.
What I just handed y'all guys is a rough count of what offices are in what building now. Rather than just verbalizing them, I thought it might help y'all to see what's where and where we might be able to move other things. Part of the 115 North Market building where Extension Service is now and juvenile probation, there is a lot of space in that building on one side of it that possibly could be used for something else. There might be ways to relocate some offices that are currently in existence to a more feasible place. The original plans in this building had the juvenile probation where the district clerk is now. If the district clerk is going to relocate into the completed courthouse, which is the plan, if it will allow for it, then that whole space down there is going to be available, and juvenile probation could move into that, possibly, which will leave 115 North Market with a lot of available space that could be utilized for offices. We need to look at the big picture.
The courthouse is something that has to be addressed soon.
Correct.
To find out what is going in there. And as far as I can see, the space that she has there's no way that's going into the courthouse. Denise.
Well, I know Denise has talked about if she moves into the courthouse, not necessarily having to utilize the big heavy file system that she has now. I know she was talking last week at the courthouse meeting about moving into the courthouse, and that's the desire.
Are we going to talk about that now, or?
Well, you know,
Well, it's not necessary. You can go ahead and talk a little bit about it. It's not necessary to determine the courthouse space, but you can let us know what you think about it.
I would about the open.
Go ahead.
Bunch of movies out here.
No, I'm just, I think that the district clerk's office does need to go back to the courthouse. That is where the district courtroom is.
Before it was in the west wing, right? And that's
Yes,
when they
and
took
that's
off.
no longer there. The third floor, I like the idea of the first floor to be left.
Where the sheriff used to be.
Yes, for many reasons. I serve the public. I have to be, I know that the original plans is for the county judge and county attorney, but do those offices really want to be so accessible to to the public, you know, and I shared, Judge Saxon and I spoke about this, and she thought, you know, that would be maybe something to keep the traffic, you know, they would have to be upstairs. It's more office setting on the 3rd floor. I understand that some walls can be, you know, he did explain to me how some walls can be, you know, taken down or what have you. But as a clerk, our office needs to be, we have to have our eyes. Look at Carol's office and my office. Visibility. I can't, my deputies, we can't be stuck behind. We have to be at the front. We have to be behind a counter. We take the probation payments. You don't, the traffic flow is, you know, the land people, anybody that comes in and does research, they're able to go through these records, assist themselves, or we help them. But there's more traffic, you know, our books, that it needs to be and when we did the walkthrough, I thought the 1st floor would be ideal for our office. Like it was spacious enough.
I visited with Denise some while we were there that evening, and I'm in agreement with her that the county judge's office and some of those others could be relocated to the upper floors. That corner that she's talking about would be very appropriate for her activities. Now, you know, one person's opinion worth every penny you're paying for it. I would hope that they would go ahead and put that wall back in that was taken out, and what was going to be the commissioner's court area. I think it would be sufficient. It would not be overly, overly large, but that would give you some more office space on the 1st floor. Not you, but it would open up some more office space on the 1st floor, rather than having what I consider an overly large commissioner's court. And I know sometimes this is overflowing here, but it's seldom. It's usually when there's something contentious going on. Usually on a regular day, this is more than sufficient, and there's at least this much space, or possibly a little more, in the room that was designated, even if that wall is put back up. But anyway, regardless about the wall, I think Denise's idea is a good one.
Well, before you get any hopes up, you better talk to THC and ask what they say about walls and what's going to go where.
Okay.
Because they're going to have the final say.
Well, I understand, Pete, but my understanding was that the wall had been taken out, and what I understood from Mrs. Daly, or the people, or no, it wasn't her, it was Fisher, that it could be put back since it was there originally.
Yeah.
And they also mentioned the fact that there was issues with the 2-point load-bearing situation, that A-frame that they had put to hold the 2nd and 3rd floor up in place. So, you know, to me, if you take that out, you take care of that load-bearing situation, which tends to put all of the weight of the building over in these two by two areas instead of in a long place. I'm not an architect or an engineer, obviously, but anyway, I'm not, you know, I don't have anything etched in stone. I just noticed that, and I thought that.
Well, doesn't THC only have authority to tell the county what to do as far as the structure of the building, what offices go in there, and where those offices are is at our determination?
How long have you been dealing with THC?
How long have I been here? 15 years?
They pretty much tell you what to do once you sign that thing.
3rd floor is very office setting. The separate offices with walls. That would be, I mean, go back, look.
Well, it
That's
doesn't
where
hurt
the
to-
county attorney was to your
It's
right.
just a question we
The
need
county
to ask
judge
them if we
was
can
to
do
your
that.
left.
All you gotta do is ask. They tell you no.
Her?
But I think,
Don't matter where they place you, right?
but I think
They
that,
can't tell us what offices go in there. And again, with the weight of the files that Denise has, 1st floor location would be much smarter, because the foundation is going to hold it better than something supporting upstairs. Again, even though courthouse office consideration isn't on here, we need to talk about all offices before anything is set in stone.
Yeah, I understand, because we can move, we gotta concentrate on the courthouse, because those are gonna be permanent.
Right,
permanent, and
right.
then- I understand.
And really, whatever we move anywhere else, we need to think that it's gonna be permanent, so we allocate enough space for each office and not do like was done in this building. Cut and scrimp and save, and then we're already out of space. We have to consider any additional staff growth that might transpire. We have to consider storage. We have to consider workable space for the offices now.
Once the courthouse is done and juvenile moves back over here, Neva moves back over here, that whole building over there will be opened up, right?
Well, it has extension service in it.
That's it.
But if you remember originally, ag was in this area right here.
Yeah.
I would like to propose that in this grand plan, and I'm not shortchanging any of the departments, but in the major space, the courthouse, this building, and the tax assessor's office, that you look at the major county offices. I'm not, and when I say peripheral, I consider what we do where we are peripheral. Juvenile probation is peripheral. You know, take care of your major offices first, and then if there's room for them, that's fine. But they can, in my opinion, go anywhere. They may be, I hate to say this, but they don't have to be as user-friendly as your tax-paying citizens. I don't care if the juvenile probation people have to walk to Kennedy for all I care. Not disregarding Mrs. Smith, but anyway, the point being is let's take care of our major offices before we get off into some of these peripheral things and wind up dedicating space to an office that can go almost anywhere into one of these major buildings.
On the rough list I gave y'all, I failed to make a notation by the county attorney that that would be moving into the courthouse also.
That's what I thought it was.
I guess we've determined that we need to have a courthouse office assignment for, we have to have that for Mr. Fisher to make plans, and that has to be done soon.
I agree.
So that needs to be done. Okay? All right, going down my list here, I have TCEQ has requested office space 1 or 2 days a week. And they could go in the canal building. If we, I wouldn't think they need a privacy space if we, depends how much we do remodeling on that building.
They would need probably some type of,
Need what?
they would need some type of, I guess, I won't say privacy, you can't just have an open area for them, you'll have to have, so they can close the door if they need to have some type of thing like that. And just a little a bench or something they can calibrate equipment with. There's been 158 requests for services for TCQ in Orange County in the last 18 months. So there is a need.
And when Shelby and I were in Austin talking to the Railroad Commission, we mentioned to them, they said, yeah, they could put someone here too, but I think they could, TCQ and Railroad Commission could probably share an office, because they work, and I asked them, would they have to have full services, or they work from their laptop? And they said they work for their laptops in the field, they wouldn't have to have a whole lot of extra services in there, but they would be.
I agree that if you're going to have a 1 day and a 2 day, they can share an office. That wouldn't be a problem. A little bit of privacy. You know, to me, regulators such as that are PIA, but you know, if they're going to come, I guess they're going to come.
And the citizens that I've talked to said, well, they sure like to have TCQ and Railroad here 1 or 2 days. We've talked to persons that have called off and get put on hold and have an office in that.
Well, will they be willing to pay anything for this space, or is this a county donation?
No, the county has to furnish the space for them. They're not gonna pay for it.
Another mandated pass-through,
They're all,
unfunded.
so, anyway, need to provide space for Railroad Commission and TCEQ, but I think they could share one on this. Okay. I'm gonna throw this in here. I also heard from Art Floors this week. He said he's still working with AT&T, and AT&T sounds very good. In other words, he told me y'all can save way over $100,000, but AT&T will tell me what they told me they're gonna do. By getting service to all of our buildings. And he said rather than put these radio towers, signals up to send from building to building, he said if they do it with that, it would save us lots of money. So he's still working with it. He said I'm not ready to give any report, but I am making progress with it. All right, on your list here that you gave, you want to tell us what this all means?
I identified the building by the address and what offices are currently in there, and if any are moving out known to date, I made those notations on there also, except for with the county attorney that I missed. So you need to add moving the courthouse by that office name.
Okay.
What about the county clerk?
She's saying here.
And who's gonna, I'm sorry, I forgot, it's been a while that we went to the courthouse and everything. When you walk into the courthouse, we're talking about the niche to the right-hand side, well, that office to the right-hand side. What about where the county clerk used to be? What are we gonna use that
You're talking to the left-hand side when you walk in,
That's what she's.
where the county clerk
Okay.
used to be.
Okay, because you were talking, she's talking about where the
Where the
sheriff used to be.
sheriff
Sheriff.
used to be. Okay.
Yeah, so what are we gonna,
That's supposed to be the judges and courtrooms.
Right.
okay, I had originally thought the county clerk was moving back.
County courtroom, commissioner's courtroom.
Commissioner's Court.
No, county clerk will stay here.
Yeah, it was determined after this location was done, when there was the discussion with the multipurpose room and where to put the jury room and not put the jury
So
room.
many times we moved around,
Exactly.
I can't
That
remember
the
exactly.
county clerk would stay in this building.
Okay, so the county clerk would not move back to the courthouse, and that would
Correct.
be used as a commissioner's courtroom.
Correct.
But the judge would be located on the third judge in county. It's not set in stone, but that's
Correct.
what we're
Right.
looking at.
Ideally, it would be nice to be able to have the plans in front of y'all, so y'all could
Yeah.
picture everything that's going on and, you know, if nothing else, pencil in and then erase and then rearrange and erase.
Right.
Because, again, we don't need to be wasting money moving. We need to put people where they need to be permanently.
I agree.
We discussed also on the second floor where the courtroom is on the second floor. There's no longer the walls are where the jury room, you know, and the what is the other to the left? The law library. That is, you know, it's all the but where the district clerk's office was, and that was the district judge's office, right? There's two offices. That would work as the jury room, I believe.
Right.
To
That's
the
what they
right.
had.
And then to the left, maybe where we could house, if possible, the inmates, or where adult probation could confer. That would be a conferring group where adult probation could, I'm sorry, where they could set up, or where a DA could set up with the attorneys to the right.
So rather than using the space that we used to use on the right-hand side in the courtroom, we'll be using those other rooms on the second floor.
Right, because that's no longer.
The second
They're not
floor,
there.
They're not,
the second floor, you only have the courtroom and restrooms, that's it. On the second floor.
District judge's office.
we still have those other.
No,
additional-
the district
We have
judge's
the one
office
to the right and one
that
to the
are
left
still
on the
there.
steps.
Yeah.
Right.
The entrance to go into the district clerk's office, it's still
That'll be
there.
his office or her office or
The district
No,
judge.
they're on the
district judge.
No,
will be on
We're
the
moving those to
second
the third
floor,
floor.
right?
I'm sorry, Commissioner?
The district judge's office.
No, the second
There-
floor has nothing. I mean, you
No,
just
the second floor has nothing, I mean,
just
other
the
than,
courtroom.
courtroom and restrooms, and that's it.
that's it. So,
Sheriff?
Excuse me. As far as like court, district court, county court, are we gonna have it at the new jail once it gets, once we're in there? Or?
That's right. A lot of the judicial activities will take place at the courtroom in the new jail. So it'll primarily be district court, I think, from what I
At
gather,
the courthouse.
at the courthouse. Is that right, Sheriff?
I was just asking, I figured, yeah.
I think your district court will always have to be in court.
Courthouse.
But the district court is civil and criminal.
Right.
So is county court.
But
We made accommodations to put extra stuff in there for the courts. Both district judges looked at what was at the new jail. So we made it, we put extra plugs, we put audio visual, a lot of stuff that they requested in that new courtroom. So,
And you can have the arraignment, you know, I mean, that could be over audio, visual. I
Right.
mean, it could be, you know.
The audio arraignment.
Because you have that one judge who's going to hear a civil and criminal docket.
Well, like Pete said, maybe it would be best if we set another meeting to do some thinking about how we assign the spaces over here once it's a little
The
more clear.
courthouse has to be assigned, in other words.
Start with the
you have
courthouse,
county
yes.
attorney- You have county attorney staying here, I was under the.
No, that's what I just said. I failed to write it on there, so write it on there that he's moving to the courthouse.
Maybe we should start with the courthouse.
Well, where's he gonna be in the courthouse if Denise gonna take his office space?
Third floor. That's what Denise was saying, put the county judge and county attorney on the third floor.
Herb said he'll work off a balcony up there.
Well, we have a little, depending on the wall that I mentioned, that as you walk through the courthouse on the first floor, the left-hand side toward the rear has one office and possibly two, depending if that wall goes back up. So there's some potentially, well, there's already some office space and potentially more office space there, depending on the wall that we talked about. But, you know, rather than get bogged down in the courthouse, we probably need to go do a walkthrough and, like I say, have another set down on courthouse alone. And as James said, is that almost becomes a priority as to who goes there, and then you shuffle the dominoes again to figure out how they go.
It would be maybe the courthouse first, and then this building second.
Yeah.
Fill that one up first, and then this one, and then whatever you know we have left, we put in, scatter them around in the other offices.
I'd like to make another mention that I thought also, if the district clerk's office would be to the right, that what used to be the old license, that would be ideal for our district judge.
Well, that's being held right now for a room for
Right to the left.
private, and I'm using the word private consultation, but basically what they're using when commissioners have to go into
Executive session.
executive session. So that's kind of being held for that. That was my understanding on that. And pretty well determined that Mr. Hancock's going to have to move into the men's room on the second floor. That's all specified.
The facility on the third floor originally, 6 years ago, was all on the third floor. The county judge's office, county attorney,
Commissioner's court was up there.
commissioner's court, everything was on the third
Well,
floor.
we can make it fit. We just need to build.
It's, and we don't need to be in the flow of traffic anyway. The further we get out of the way, the better off we are, you know. Out of sight, out of mind.
Difficult to find.
I know.
Okay, the biggest question I have is emergency management. If you try to move everything here, we have to make space for that. If you move it from Kennedy to here.
The area that's in Kennedy is really not a workable space. If you put all the people that needed to be in that space, in that one room, together,
But it wasn't designed that way.
no.
What square footage do you need on the 1,200 to 1,600 to fit that?
I think that the size space that Karen's office is, and then you have the break room that would be the training room once her leaves that space, would be an appropriate space, because then you would have a space for people to meet and a space to train people. And then you would also have office space where you could hook up that equipment and have the office space adjacent to the training and meeting space.
Okay, another area to consider for that, since a large area is needed, is the 115 North Marketplace, because there is one side of that building that used to be the commissioner's courtroom, and then the other side is one big room that could be divided down into several offices.
You can fit 4 to 6 offices in that one, with a hallway.
That, again, the secondary offices need to go someplace else.
Again, it's just a matter of, in my opinion, y'all need to have the floor plans out here of the buildings, and if nothing else, we cut up little squares and try and place them in there and see what works and what doesn't work.
Tell us about the cost, Pete.
Talk about the cost of the 111 North Brown Street, the mill building. You ready to move on to that? Okay, this other stuff is, needs a whole lot of that. All right. Okay. We, got about a week's notice that the building was for sale before the budget. I made a quick estimate. I was told 130,000, they wanted 139, we offered 130 and they took it. But I turned into the budget $30,000 to adapt it to offices on quick fix, so we had office space. I went through that later and I came up with 31,000, what does the sheet say, 31,800?
600, 31.6.
31.6. All right, you have those listed there. They're just quick estimates. Zane did the same thing and he came up with about 33,800 or something like that on, just a quick fix to get into the building. And then right below that I have the shop. We need to do a little bit changing of the stairs, maybe we'll make restroom accommodation and so forth, and doors, a little bit of electrical and part work. I had about $3,000 in there for the shop, and then for the back room in there, which is separate, and you have a sheet in here there that shows this legal size sheet, shows the shop area back here. If we use that for storage, we insulate it and put a window air conditioning unit and fix the door secure. And I have about $2,500 in there just to make it store. Put some styrofoam, 3/4 inch styrofoam on all walls and ceiling and window unit air conditioner. And so that's just a quick estimate stuff that I had on fixing that building. Now, we will have to make a decision, not today, but we're going to consider how much we want to spend on it. We want to fix it permanent right now. We want to just get into it, what we want to do. And I think at the bottom of that sheet for the commissioners, I have written down there. For funds, there's $272,000 in here. I believe that's the amount that we budgeted for a building back here with the maintenance shop on one end. Okay, we're not planning to do anything with that, so we have that money available to transfer to use for doing what we want to do to this building now. So that's correct along, right?
That's the amount of budget, yes.
Okay, that can be, we can use those funds in our budget without amending the budget. All right, so Zane got some figures, which I didn't print for you, but I have here and I'll go through them. If this is done by a contractor, we have to hire someone with a contractor to do it. Frame 6 offices and store-called drywall, finish, paint, everything. He has 2,900 and 1,600, and then do 11 of the floors and put tile in it. It's $1.50 a square foot. $6,000 for that. And then the ceilings, he has $1,920. I don't know exactly what kind. And he has ADA, men's and women's restroom, toilet, sink, phone fixtures. He's got $7,500 and $800, that would be $8,300. And he has HVAC, R&J gave an estimate on a new unit, split system unit, 4-ton, $8,687. And he has two tons, and that's $6,395. Then new storefront, the doors open in, modern day code when you change them, you have to make them open out, they should open out. And he has a bid or a price for East End Glass estimate's not a bid because it wasn't a time on it. He has $13,962 to redo the whole storefront with tinted windows, tinted glass windows. I don't know exactly what that means, but he has that much in it.
Does that door have to be handicap accessible?
Have to be double doors.
Yes, that will be, yes. It will be.
Is there a sidewalk in front of it too? Because we need to make sure we've got a ramp if there is, right?
The alley goes flat with the sidewalk, with the actual existing sidewalk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, communications data, he had a question mark on that, doesn't have a price. Okay, electrical, electrical has some of these screw-in fuses, blood fuses, or whatever. And so he suggested we just put in new electrical and $5,500 to rewire the whole building, and $3,200 for light fixtures, etc. And then he has extra woodwork, about $1,500. He had the shops, do some things in there. He had $3,000 for that. Office estimated materials only are $30,120. The shop $3,000, and contracted AC, which I went through, $8,700. Doors and windows, door front $13,962. Yeah, some extra plumbing of $800. So he came up with about $75,000 if we hire a contractor to do it, to go out for bid.
What is that storage space designated for that you have on the layout?
Well, all right,
Because we need to talk about record storage.
it says if that's for temporary record storage or,
It's not for records. We need to talk about the equipment storage, the old computers that people get rid of, the big monster laminator because that record storage
Carol, I
building.
told you the other day, that stuff is not equipment, it's junk.
Pete, but we have to do something with it. That means you all have to declare a surplus sale to get rid of it, but it can't stay in the records management
Is
building.
Dwayne here?
Dwayne doesn't have anything to do with that.
Stepped out.
Y'all designated Carol as record retention.
I asked Dwayne the other day, he has a container over there, a storage container. And he said when he moves to jail, he's gonna empty it out. He pays $95 a month on that.
But we don't have to pay for it.
And we can take all of that.
Why should we continue paying for that when we have all this space for storage? I'm not talking about the whole shop area. I'm talking about a little space
We're
that will
not gonna
hold
take
equipment.
junk and move it into that building. Why take junk and move it into the building?
Because it's in the records management room right now. It doesn't need to be in that
Can we
building.
declare the stuff just not salvageable and just destroy it?
If it's
Somebody
junk, it
is
has to be,
salvageable.
if it's salvaged, we can stick it in that
If there is a
container and have
monetary
sale.
value
But
to
then you're
it, we
paying
have to
monthly
declare
for
it
it again. Why do we
surplus.
keep
And
having
any
monthly
computers
payments on
have a
something we don't
monetary
need?
value because of the guts of
Silver and
Well, wait a minute, Carol, let me ask you one
Take
thing.
all that to.
Why should we take it and put it in that building?
Because you have the space.
But it
Until
has
we
to
have
be
a
declared
surplus.
surplus, you've got
Until
rules,
this
it has
space
to
is
be declared surplus, and it either has
So
to
you're
be
filling up your records room with that.
private
What's the
bid
difference?
or at a
Y'all had it
surplus
over there
auction.
for years. I didn't
Because
put
we
it
didn't
in
have a
there.
place to put it. You just bought a brand new building, a new building for the county that has ample space for storage, and it's not permanent. It's just till we have a surplus sale.
Now, wait a minute. You're talking about storage. That's not storage, that's junk. When will you admit it's junk?
Not all
I'm
of
not
that is
saying
junk.
that it's, I'm not saying it's not junk. It's usable for some people. It just needs to be in a surplus sale.
We need
You
to get
have to
rid of it.
designate
We'll
that.
put it in that container until we have a surplus sale.
But then you're
Get rid of
paying
it.
every month on a container that you don't have to pay for.
At the collection station, we have those rig trailers back there that we have some of the stuff from the courthouse that we took out. I don't know exactly how much square footage we have there, but I can go and check.
Well, why move it multiple times? Why not declare it surplus, schedule a surplus sale, or
Hey, can I
advertise
just
the
make a
bid?
suggestion right
Get
quick?
rid of it.
Let David Reynolds and I we'll make a tour of all the departments and come up with everybody to identify their surplus and let us look at it and we'll decide and set up come back to the court and report what we find, and then we can decide we're gonna have a sale or what, but we need to get rid of a lot of this antique, treasure, junk, whatever it is. But we need to come up with some type of a plan.
Well, and a
So
lot-
David and I can start
That's a good idea.
walking around, come back to the court, let the court decide what we're gonna do. Is that
Well,
fair enough,
it-
gentlemen? I mean,
It's not necessarily things in the offices, Shelby. It's,
in that-
there's a lot in
yeah,
that building.
And we're talking, and we'll have to get Vi to help us get in there. In that,
Harold,
well, who's ever got the 2 keys?
Harold.
We can
Not
ask
first,
Road
But,
Bridge
you know,
if
but
they
there's a
have
lot of,
anything.
in any department that has you've got you have your stash or something, email me or email Erica so she can provide the information to David and me, and then we'll make our tour. And we'll drag a trailer around if we have to, pick all
Well,
the.
if nothing else, again, don't move things multiple times.
Exactly.
Identify it, declare it,
Well-
and either have a sale or open it up for
We
bid.
can identify what we have, how many we have of what. Now, we may have to pull the hard drives out of the computers to just
Most
throw
of them have already
them,
been
you know.
pulled.
But nevertheless, we're just burning daylight here, but we can at least come up with a plan for that. And David, you agreeable with that?
Herb, you had something to say?
Just a question, would y'all, when you're looking at this antique product that we have, go to the, experience, go to the building where the juvenile system is now. They've got a bunch of stuff over there that's stored that's,
Now, some of that stuff may be juveniles, and that's not
The
county
telephone
equipment.
booth is not junk.
Yeah.
There's a desk there that's not junk, it's antique.
Well-
There's some stuff that's not junk.
Yeah.
did, I understood this was an effort to try to separate what we were gonna sell from what we were not gonna sell.
But when we cleaned the courthouse out, we did that surplus sale already from the courthouse stuff that did not have to go back into the courthouse. We've already done that surplus. So whatever's in that juvenile building or in those storage bin have to go back into the courthouse.
Yeah, whatever.
We've already did that. I did
Whatever's over
that.
there, it's stuff that we
That was 2 years
separated
ago.
that have to go back.
Yes.
So
Chad
back
and I
to
went in
Carol's
and done-
original question, this
But you-
part that is marked as storage,
Yeah.
what's it gonna be used
You
for?
agree with this?
Yes.
All right. Since.
The shades need to get them taken
I'm
out.
okay, go ahead.
Okay, we need
I just
some records
text.
stored for something. So we've got a bunch of records across there. All right, if we redo that building, we're gonna have to get it out of there and put it somewhere so it's stored someplace. That stuff will be stored there until that building is redone, where it's done sufficiently and properly for record storage, if we do that. But the permanent records that they have there will be stored in the back of that building, that 700 square feet,
Temporarily.
temporary.
As long as
So-
it is temporarily, because we go over there 2 or 3 times a week for records. I know the sheriff's department has to go over there for case files sometimes, so we need to have it close to us.
And
So then after that temporary use is over, what will that storage area be used for?
is it proper to say that that building needs upgrading or
Demolition.
something to be a proper storage building?
Yes, it would need some upgrade to be proper storage.
Stuff
But it also
It
needs,
would not follow.
there's a lot of things from what I understand that are in that building that do not have to be retained record-wise.
Yes.
Not talking the excess equipment or anything, but record-wise that needs to be destroyed, either
It's
a
big enough
bonfire at
space.
the pit
Yeah.
or something.
It's a big enough space, it just needs work done on it. It needs to
Yeah,
be
but
climate
it's probably a
controlled.
lot cheaper to tear it down and build a nice square building with central heating and air and shelves and
The building,
that building.
That has to be
it's in bad, it was in bad condition. Condition 13, 14 years ago.
That has to be determined.
Yeah, I mean, it's just,
Let's, if we can, let's return to what Pete was talking about. We're back to what are we gonna use it for, and some of this still is to be determined, but we were talking about the cost that Zane had come up with contracted out as opposed to Pete's estimate of repairs, and did you have a recommendation on that?
No, that's up for us all to decide on.
Okay.
What's your opinion? Or do you think we should spend $80,000 and fix it up permanent? Do you think we ought to spend $30,000 and get offices made and get into it quick?
well, who's going in there?
Exactly, we can't determine the cost till we know what we're putting in there.
I agree with Luana, move it once, so fix it the way it needs to be permanently, and then, because I still have some questions on the HR and the financial officer, what their duties are supposed to be.
Or if it won't be done very quick, if we're gonna fix it up permanent, which is best, it's economically best to do it permanent, I agree with that. But we need to hire HR soon. We need to do that.
Well, that's for another day discussion.
Well, I just
Talking
want
of
to just
buildings.
throw out something with the HR on that. I still think payroll needs to stay into my office because monies that are, bills that are being paid, monies that need to be paid, have to come out of the treasurer's office as part of my core duties. I have a girl in there now that has been doing payroll. She does have HR experience. Dedicate her to be our HR person and our payroll person only. She's still under my wings. Make Sylvia, my new temporary person, a full-time person to take Elaine's place. You've got someone who's already doing the payroll, because if we're talking about training somebody, I mean, Elaine's pretty much got the grasp of it, and we're learning, but if you're going to move HR and make payroll, I'm going to fight you on that, because they're going to do it, I'm going to do it, and Luana's going to look, it's going to take too long. If you keep Elaine in that position and make her the HR position, because basically that's all she does now, right now, is payroll. Anybody that does like verification of employment or retirement, I'm handling that, but I think she's trainable to learn how to do that. Give her that position, pay her from the HR position out of the budget, make Sylvia full-time, and let me have her as my full-time
I
chief
think
deputy.
that'll be a budgeting time when we start talking about that. Right now, it's my personal opinion, and I know what you're saying. But right now, I think we need to look at our buildings. That's what we're here for strictly for the buildings.
Right, but don't be hiring.
But
Put that in your brain before you start thinking about hiring a full-time HR person, just as a food for thought.
Yep, okay, thank you. But I think, quite frankly, to cover these buildings, okay, Luana provided all the sheet, everybody's got that sheet here. Okay, this says 200 each Calvert. You got the tax assessor, collector, the treasurer, the auditor. Treasurer, you said we'll be needing some extra space in there for you probably.
Yes.
Luana, will you be needing an extra person or an extra place sometime down the line? Additional space to work in?
There's a good possibility, yes.
Okay. Vita, nothing? Okay, so possibly, for sure, y'all might put a star by the treasurer's office and the auditor's office that there's a chance we may have to do something to those offices to enlarge them so they can function. Okay, 210 West Calvert. And I think y'all, the treasurer and auditor ought to come back to the court with an idea of what they want to do. I mean, what things you need to do. Plus that building, did we not do some construction there and there's some stuff never has been finished?
Well, we still need to paint, but we're not going to do that until everything is settled with the rest of the buildings.
Okay, 210 West Calvert, and that's this building. The county clerk will stay in the annex, correct?
Correct.
Adult probation is gonna do what? Question mark, where they'll go.
John Eager?
Yeah.
DPS is going to the jail. The district clerk and the county judge will be moving to the new courthouse whenever the renovations are complete. Okay,
And the county attorney.
well, we're getting to that.
Okay.
Veteran Service Officer, that's the guy that's in this corner here.
That's a question.
He'll have to go, in my opinion, he'll have to go down to the Canal Building.
Right.
Probably right.
Okay, elections, when DPS moves out, elections will, from the understanding I had a while ago, will be moving to the DPS office, right? If we can work something out there.
Isn't JP3 going to the jail?
I don't
No,
think
he
so.
stays here.
She stays here?
Yeah, JP1 is going to the new DMS building,
Yeah.
if you're thinking that.
No, I was thinking, never mind. I guess what I had in my mind is in DeWitt County and in several counties that built new jails, they put their JP office in the jail.
Somebody.
Okay.
Wilson
Okay.
County.
But anyway, the elections office will probably go to the DPS office, and, JP would stay where they're at, but yet we have some modification we gotta do in that office because that floor's got that leak in it or something. So if we ever do anything in that office, we're gonna have to move her out temporarily so she can get her leak fixed, right?
Right, well, what, I thought when the sheriff moves, Herb moves into the sheriff's department, and then
Just
Marty
rotate
moving
them.
in, but he's going back in the courthouse.
Daisy could move over to her office now while her office is being fixed, and then she can move back in.
That would mean just temporarily when, to get her in the fix, when the sheriff then moves out, her will move into that other building probably about a year.
Which
Again, why are you
why
moving
do
them
that?
again?
Well, or just move, who you wanna put in a judge?
Walter?
Would y'all please excuse me, the judge is here.
Oh, I didn't see that.
I'm sorry, Judge, I didn't see you.
No, that's all right. I'm hearing y'all talk where all these decisions have been made of this is gonna be done and that's gonna be done. I haven't been in on any of those decisions apparently, because I'm not aware of all of the decisions that have been made concerning this.
Well, see, these are preliminaries.
These are just
I
proposals.
don't even think they're preliminary, personally, but there's things that we need to talk about for certain, which we're not exactly doing. We're assuming that this is gonna be here, and I'm saying that's gonna be there, and that's not the way it is. If any of those decisions have really been made, I was not there, I'd like to know about it.
My suggestion earlier in the meeting, Judge, was to get the floor plans of every building and take our little squares of each proposed office and place them on there. And if they don't work, pull them back off and rearrange before anything's set in stone of people moving anywhere.
Well, that could be a start that y'all decide to do that.
No, that kind of went,
See, we gotta look at some real things, and that's not what we're doing here. It doesn't sound like to me, I'm just not sure.
Well, you wanna-
Personally, I mean, I think it would be nice to talk to the head of each department, I'm not saying, but like for me, I'm not saying I have to have the DPS space, I'm just knowing that that's available. But, you know, for me to tell you what would be optimum for mine and what we can deal with, but, you know, like you said, yes, we're making a lot of assumptions, I agree with you completely anyway.
Judge, one other thing we talked about was
Yes, I want.
the number one, I believe that the number one place is the courthouse, and we have to start with the courthouse and figure out who's gonna go to the courthouse, and then once, that's a year and a half, 2 years away, but cause like Luana said, quit moving around people and wasting money.
Redone courthouse.
Yeah, the redone courthouse, yes, sir. And if we can figure out who's gonna go in there, then we jump to this annex building because it's the second largest. And then we figure out what we're gonna do with this one. Even though we don't move them around right now, it's a year and a half, 2 years away, but at least we have a plan for that when the courthouse is done. Then after this one, then we go to the canal building, the juvenile building, if we move them over here, whatever we're gonna do. Then we use our other buildings, because they're the smaller buildings. But these would be the courthouse one, second, and then to the other, I think, what do we got, 3 other buildings? Besides this one, 3 other buildings? Then the other 3 other buildings, then we'll designate areas there for whoever's gonna be there on those. And then the HR and everything.
Anybody's going around saying, well, I'm gonna be over there, or I'm gonna
No.
be over here.
No, sir.
We understand.
This is all preliminary. All preliminary, Judge. We're, this is the maybes at this point, not the for sure's.
Quite frankly, I'd like to shut down the 200 East Calvert building and just let that building go and move everybody to another building. Don't look at me that way, Peter, we could move somebody around.
Why would you do that?
It's just that it's too big a building for what we actually have functioning in there, and I think,
Why would
it's
you move
just,
us though?
huh?
Why would you move us?
Why not?
Because it may be more cost effective.
Cost effective, more efficient buildings and stuff. I don't know, I'm
Just
just
because you
saying.
bought another building doesn't mean you need to fill it. I mean, that was
Okay,
a spur of the
also,
moment
in
thing.
that same instance, talking about 200 East Calvert, you just mentioned earlier needing any offices that might need additional space that currently is in that building. Don't go writing off 200 East Calvert yet.
Well, I'm not, but that's just my opinion, because when you start really looking at this building, there's gonna be some places here you can probably, nobody has to have a great domain office to do everything
Well,
either,
we
too.
don't have great domain offices.
Again, I think if you get the floor plans of each and start,
Well, and I think a good idea is visual. I've never even been in that Canals building other than when Dibs had it. Maybe have a tour of the courthouse and talk about it during the meeting. Okay, if this is what Denise is looking at, it's easier for me to visualize actually being in that building and talking about, well, this is what I think would work and this is why she would want to be in there. And we go to Canals building, well, this is why. I mean, pieces of paper are perfect, but I think better little tours would help. That's my opinion. And I'm sticking to it.
All I'd like to say is just on behalf of the elections department, that we would like to have, for voter convenience, a more accessible space that makes sense. And we need to think about disabled voters. We need to think about room for early voting, because that's where we hold early voting. Now, that can be considered. If y'all think we'll fit somewhere else, or you want to keep us in our office, we're fine. If we can have somewhere else that we can do early voting, but we do need to think of voter accessibility for early voting. That's my biggest issue. We can deal with the rest, but I'm just telling you, write that down in your notes or whatever. That's all the elections department is asking for.
And that one would have sufficient room
It
for
would
the
be
early
perfect.
voting.
It would be actually perfect because, they'd be able to come in from the outside. But again, I agree with Judge Long. I mean, I don't want to claim a space because I do want y'all looking at the bigger picture. Maybe there is a better place for us. It's okay. I'm good with that. I'm not, that's all I'm saying.
Well, I think we have a consensus that the very first thing there are two things that we need to do at this point, probably not much other action because this isn't an action session anyway. But the first thing is to determine the offices that will go to the remodeled courthouse and to get rid of the experienced equipment or assess it and get ready to get rid of it. That gets two things out of the way. Once we get that out of the way and those things are determined, perhaps the picture will be a little clearer and we can take these scale models that Luana suggested and look at wherever else we can move stuff. Now, I realize that we have limited space in the annex, but I am a firm believer that it is better to have all of the major county offices, elective offices, or in one case appointed, in a building rather than scattering them all over the city. Now, I realize we have the Calvert building, the old savings and loan building, and I'm not trying to uproot anyone or make anybody mad, but if there is a way to fit these major offices into one location here in the courthouse, that would be my desire, because those are the things that the public uses most often. And if you have to go to the tax office to check and see if taxes are paid, then you got to trot down here to Carol's office to try and do the title work on it, et cetera, et cetera. It's a pain in the tail, but that's just a person's opinion.
well, another consideration too is since the tax office and the appraisal district are on the same software now and utilize the same server, et cetera, and talking about taxpayer convenience, those two offices being in the same building also.
We have a lot of things to consider.
Do we have any plans for these buildings? You say we have them, or do we?
Well, that's your job, not ours.
I don't have.
I was asking.
I was asking.
Y'all were here before we built this thing.
The floor plan should be available here in this building for this building, because I know when it was completed and everybody moved into here, or Pete should have a floor plan of it possibly, y'all have access to the floor plan for the courthouse. Wouldn't be real hard to draw a floor plan for 200 East Calvert, and there's the plan for 119.
I have physical plans. Yes, I have plans of this building, have the plan of the courthouse floor space. Well, I don't have the, yeah, I do have a plan.
And you got a plan for the canal building, the only ones we need a plan for now, and 200 East Calvert.
If they're plans, they need to be shared with everybody. It shouldn't be me saying I have a plan or somebody else saying they have a plan. Everybody needs to be aware of whatever plan's going on.
Right now, they're just talking specifically about the actual floor plan so that they can do some space planning, right?
The floor plans.
Yes.
The architectural plan, yes.
Not utilization, Judge, just the
Where are the
schematic.
ones? Where are the ones we have?
Question is whether they exist or not. That's
He says he has
For this
one
building.
for this building and for the courthouse. Probably there's not one in existence for 200 East Calvert or the permit office or such as that. But the permit office is pretty mundane. We're functional there. I don't think anybody's unhappy about staying where we are. So
How many copies of plan do you want?
At least one for each court member.
you have the clerk one and the auditor one.
7. Seven copies, 10 copies.
10.
It wouldn't be a major undertaking for whoever drew these to be able to do something for 115 and for 200 East Calvert.
Same did this.
You did a fine
Well,
job.
when he comes to work on Mondays, and he can draw our building.
We're gonna ask Zane to go ahead and draw those on the Monday. Maybe one Monday, one the other Monday.
The tax office, the juvenile probation office, and the permit building.
Great. I forgot about the purpose building. That's what we've done.
Okay, we haven't made any decisions, but it's general consensus that spend money one time and fix a canal building up right, so that means to start contacting people about writing up some desires for the building, so we get prices on it.
Well, I think you're gonna have to know what offices you're assigning there before you go out for bids.
And then we'll have to go
Somebody
out.
may not need a really big office, and someone may need a small office. So trying to make them the same in size, or are you going to accommodate make sure everyone fits?
Well, we put all 4-foot doors in it.
Well, TCEQ isn't going to need a huge office, they're just going to need a small space. And that's where you're going to put them. I mean, you figure out where everybody's going.
Just to make sure it's handicap accessible, do the hallways, do the doors, and that's what we'll worry about. The court will worry about who's gonna go where and who's gonna do what. We'll work with everybody on that.
All right, I'll have to check with Jeff Chapman and see what kind of plans we can get by with bidding this. In other words, the things that we did, that we were gonna do, we could get by with our employee doing it. I'll have to check with him, see if I have to have an architectural drawing or what to do it that way. That's correct, Herb? All right, I'll give Jeff Chapman a call.
Once you know what you need.
Right.
Okay. Let me just, back up here and see if there's anything I need to say while the judge is here. One thing I did say, Judge, was, that I did get a call from Art Floors with Communications. We've been checking on AT&T getting fiber optic into all the buildings. And he said he's still working with them, that he's not ready to give a report yet, proposal on what they did. But he's still working with them, and it sounds like we'll get AT&T to help us out quite a bit on putting the fiber optic into all the buildings.
But we don't know that yet.
Sir,
We don't have any final thing on that yet. From AT&T.
no. Art Floors is checking with them on what they were doing. They gave a preliminary opinion that they would furnish the fiber optic to all and save us quite a bit of money by furnishing it, getting fiber optic into all of our buildings. There's a way to get it by radio transmittal tower from building to building. If you get it to one, and you can get it to the others, but this would save us quite a bit of money if AT&T put it into all of them.
Well, we need to look at that finally and see what they're really talking about, because we don't know.
Anyway, he's getting on, he's dealt with AT&T, and he's doing all the groundwork for it, and he will let us know as soon as he has something.
Can I ask one question? I haven't heard y'all talking today at all about an IT. Are we not gonna hire an IT specialist? And the only reason I'm asking is so that I can get my money back and start spending for stuff that I need in my department that was moved over to the IT budget. That's the only reason I'm asking. Are y'all still planning to hire one, or do we need to reassess that budget? And I know we can't make decisions or
We
anything.
have not put out any bids for IT, and we're waiting to see what Art comes up with, what proposal has, if we.
Are you gonna still hire an individual as an IT expert? I mean, don't we have a position?
We have a position in the budget currently,
Department.
but that's still up in the air whether that will be a contractual or whether that will be an employee. But if there's something you need to purchase, I suggest you bring it to court and ask for the availability.
Okay, because I've been avoiding doing that because. Anyway, okay.
I know we were on item number 5, and we kind of just got into item number 6, and we're doing 5 and 6 together. It all works together. I'm sorry, Judge, I just.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Just go ahead with me.
Okay, Judge, thank you. Okay, was there anything else to discuss on this matter?
No, I think I've got a whole bunch of things to do, so.
Okay.
Dave and Shelby are gonna do something.
Okay.
Said they will.
Just call me if you need anything. Call me, I'll meet with you, or we can meet at an office here, at my office, whatever.
Pete, there is some things in our packet from Mrs. Daly and such as that. Do you have any comments on those? There's a letter. Let's see. Good afternoon, Sharon. I'm happy for you to have new staff, blah, blah, blah. Any of that, are you familiar with any of that, have anything to say?
No, that was just in the box, but that's not a packet for this meeting.
Okay,
The only thing you had is the handouts back here.
okay, thank you.
Okay, as I said, I've got a lot to do, a lot to start on, and I think that we conclude what we need to discuss today.
Judge, I think, well, the determination we made today, there was no decisions or anything, but if I'm making a mistake, y'all correct me. We came to the determination that we're gonna get floor plans for all of them. We're gonna deal with the courthouse, who's gonna move in there first, then this annex building, and then to the other buildings. Is that correct?
I believe that's right. I mean, Judge, we're trying to look at the long game, not shuffle
So we
things
need
around.
to start doing that on a regular basis, which we haven't been doing.
Yes, sir.
So do y'all want to try and impose a deadline so that we get back with the courthouse at least, so we can get moving on that? Because Mr. Fisher needs that too to be able to complete the plans.
Pete,
I agree.
next month?
All right, what do we need to set up?
The courthouse is gonna be the main one. We have to figure out who's going in there first.
It would be a workshop for the courthouse, would that be proper?
Yes.
Okay. We'll set that up as soon as we get it done.
Fisher here.
How
But
long?
we need to leave enough time to notify Mr. Fisher, so
Yeah.
perhaps he could be here.
You wanna,
Why don't you tentatively set a time or a date for it, and so you can check with Fisher and see if it works with his schedule.
Okay, what day of the week y'all prefer to do that?
Next Thursday or Friday, would that work with y'all?
is that gonna give y'all enough time to figure out everything for the courthouse?
Thursday or Friday would be like the third or fourth or?
That would be
Second and third?
no, that would be the 26th.
Friday?
Oh,
Is it next week?
Right. 26th is a Thursday.
It's always better if people want to come on. Mr. Fisher won't want to.
Right.
okay. Okay, one of those days.
26?
Third, Thursday I can make it. I have appointments with doctors all week next week, so Thursday would be, Wednesday and Thursday are my only open days.
Okay, so I would say Thursday to
Thursday.
allow time to.
The afternoon or in the morning?
Morning,
matter.
morning's better, right?
Judge, you gonna be around?
When,
Thursday, the 26th.
Next Thursday?
Doctor's appointment or anything?
I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't have my phone.
I'll check his schedule.
Chandler, they just set it for the 26th of March, 9 o'clock.
Tentatively.
And then if the judge calls it, he changes it,
Yeah, judge-
maybe to the
judge-
25th.
We'll look at your schedule, but we'll look at the Thursday, the 26th of March at 9 o'clock,
If you're available.
if you're available.
Okay.
I told him next week I'm not available Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. I'm only available Wednesday and Thursday. And then,
You say it, should,
Thursday,
Thursday, what?
26th.
March 26th at 9 o'clock.
It doesn't fit my April 26th, doesn't
Golly.
At least you're proactive.
He's
Yeah, exactly.
He's in the long game for sure.
I don't know anything, so.
Well, okay, 26th then?
the 26th.
March 26th at 9 o'clock, we'll have another, you with Mr. Fisher here? Right.
That would be, I was gonna say, that would be contingent on his being able to be here
Yes.
also.
Yes, sir.
If not, then
Who's going to contact him?
Pete.
I'll contact.
Judge, just as an alternative, if James is only available on Wednesday, would Wednesday work for you if Mr. Fisher can't come on
Like you said,
Thursday?
Thursday.
Yeah, I'm available Thursday.
You're available Thursday, but I'm talking about Fisher.
Wednesday and
He
Thursday,
stated
either
Fisher
day.
can't come Thursday.
Okay, I would only be available Wednesday afternoon. And we've got payroll next week, so
You're not available Thursday?
I'm available Thursday,
Thursday,
but
Friday
on
night.
Wednesday, I'm only available in the afternoon.
Okay,
And Vi would be available Thursday too.
let's
right?
hope that he can come Thursday morning.
Right. Well, just kind of don't give him the option. We need you here, you're our
Yeah,
architect, and
You're
this is
getting paid.
when
Um,
the majority can get together here, so.
Okay, Thursday morning.
Yeah.
Works?
Meeting will start here, right?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
We have a walking quorum.
All right.
I'm sick,
It'll be posted.
but it'll be at the walking
Oh,
quorum.
well, yeah, because we're going to walk next door.
Literally, yes.
Thought I'd ask.
Do we have a motion to adjourn?
There's no
Don't need one for this.
Okay.
Adjourn?
We
We
can
just
adjourn
say,
if you
hey,
wanna
man,
make it, we can
quit.
adjourn it. Can we make it? Okay, make it, it's made.
It's made.
Seconded, all in favor say aye to adjourn? Aye. Motion's done.
Thank you.